Hey guys, this is my second time I'm doing the faction tier list, and the criteria is as following. The faction tier list is about the main factions, and the faction has to have at least 4 units of the faction to be considered. So it's not like, yeah, you run 3 faction units and 5 castle units and call it, I don't know, Rampart or Conflux team, as there's 5 castle units. Next up, the tech is maxed for all of the available units, weapons, Star Awakenings, banners, and everything, heroes. And I decided to make the faction tier list at this point because the second generation heroes are done for the main factions, for the 10 factions, and all of the second generation champions are out as well. So we have 2 techs that are on par to each faction. They're still missing 3 banners for Fortress, Cove, and Dungeon, and a few Star Awakenings. 1 Star Awakening is especially hurting the faction, and it's Black Knight Star Awakening. I was waiting for it to come out and then do the tier list, as that would be a really nice spot to do it. But yeah, it is how it is. Can't have everything. And yeah, this is purely my opinion, but I've seen stuff, experienced stuff, so yeah. And obviously the way that your account is set up might be different. Hero stats, artifact levels, scars, sets awakened, peak talents, constellations, everything else. So yeah, here we go. And the bottom faction is still neutral. It's a fake faction. Only thing that has changed from the previous tier list is Cotus. That's really noticeable. It's like you put in Cotus into a weak faction and it already makes it more durable, deal much more damage, and he's a charger that can tank. Really awesome unit. So that's about it for neutral. Then we have, yeah, as I said, Necros. Unfortunately, it's missing big damage. It does not damage. The faction itself does not real damage unless you're really ahead of all of the other factions. And I mean, all of the other factions. It's just a sad state the Necros are in right now. But yeah, it's hoping light that the Black Knight Star Awakening will make a difference. And Lamasu, the tank 3rd champion, might be out soon as well, as the 3rd waves are starting. But yeah, let's see how that will go. So here we are, the staple of Necro team. The tanks are weak. Yeah. So here we are, 5 units. Bone tank, some are playing bone tank. It's probably not better than playing the offensive bone as in the tank spot. And you can play Cotus alongside bone. Yeah, no tank. Necro is pretty decent. You can play then Priest, and if you don't have Angelic Alliance level 11, you can play also Judy, and yeah, that's pretty much it. You can play Paladin in place of Kotos, add Angel, so yeah, but this is pretty much it, and Sister instead of IP, so that's your usual Necro setup. So next up it's Fortress. They are also lacking behind on tech. No Hydra Star Awakening, no Commander banner, and yeah, no one has the 3rd champion. but yeah, lacking behind in 2 techs, it's not that great. The only damage, so to say, is Quetzalcoatl. Rakshasa, decent support, does a bit of damage, but yeah, Tiger and everyone else is really, really squishy. So here's the staple of Fortress team. Yeah, you can play Basilisk, but it's really outdated and weak right now. And Hydra, we're still waiting for the Star Awakening of Hydra, so you can put her as caster or keep her as offensive. Time will tell, but yeah, what can you do in the other 3 slots? And you can't really play Tiger here because he will run in front of the tank usually and just die, so you have to place him ideally in the last spot. The 3rd spot is decently okay as well. So Paladin is a really, really good option to play as a tank alongside the Gorgon, and yeah, usual suspects, Angel, Judicator, or Fawn instead of that, and as the usual Priest and Kotus. So this is a pretty decent team for Fortress if you main it. So yeah, you can switch these 2 spots depending. Yeah, you can put Fawn in here. And if you're really bold, go like too offensive. You can put Rakshasa here and play 2 necro offensive units as in DC and Bone. No healer setup. If you're play like 3rd team, it's all right. It's not huge, but it's all right. Next up in the same tier is Conflux. Still good, decent crowd control. The lag is still there from Light Elemental. The weaknesses as well. The banner of ID didn't make that much of an impact. Still low damage, and the units itself are squishy. What's next up? It's Diamond Element, the 3rd champion, and maybe possibly Kyrie. I don't know. So time will tell, as she's the first 3rd generation hero in the Life Alliance. So yeah, have to wait and see when she or he comes out, depending on which Heroes of Might and Magic game you have played. So as for Conflux, there's 5 decent units to be played. You can play also the little guy as tank. You can also skip Prophet and play 4 Conflux units, as the backline is really crowded. Yeah, if you want to play 3 units, you only have like Priest. Kotus is absolutely necessary here. If you don't play Kotus, the units die. So usually you want to protect your backline first. And yeah, this is bannered up, and this is still a great unit. Crowd control, AoE, and I'd say more reliable than Prophet. So Prophet has to go, and yeah, then it's 2 spots left, which you can play as yeah, Angel and maybe another tank, but yeah, then you have to switch. If you want to play a backline unit, then you have to switch Kotus into the front, which is not optimal. You can play back the Oracle. I mean Oracle. This is Oracle. Yeah, I made the mistake before. But yeah, that's about it. You can play other. I mean Paladin. You can play the castle units. And sweat Paladin instead of another tank to make 4-4 Kotus out split. So yeah, a little bit of variation as you can put your conflicts team together. Next up, Inferno. Before last time, Inferno was like top 2, top 3, if I remember correctly, and it's because the banners just came out, and Venom Spawn banner was really nice. But yeah, now it is where it is. So yeah, the best tank duo in the game, probably Devil and Venom Spawn. It's really good sustained damage, good melee clear, but the DPS units are just way too squishy. The units can't tank a charger and can't even tank dungeon chargers. If they go straight up onto Fallen Angel, it's really bad. And Abyss Lord dies fast as well. And next up, Hell Knight, and it's going to be released next week. And yeah, little spoiler, it's good. It's good. I'm happy for Inferno. It's really nice. So yeah, looking forward to it. So as I said previously, the units are really squishy, so we need both Priest and Cotus for the units to survive. And then you have here a slot and there a slot. So what do we play? Maxed out banner, ID, it's a possibility. You can put Cotus up in front, at least it protects these guys at first, not so much those guys. Oracle a possibility, some Cov like Archer or Necro's Bone, or another support unit as Fawn, also a possibility. Angel Bone DC, lots of possibilities, but not ideal, I'd say. So yeah, really looking forward to Hell Baron, which is coming out next week, and yeah. We are still in the same tier as these four factions are really close to each other, and yeah, it's Stronghold after the buffs. I could not put it anywhere else as here. So yeah, after the buffs, the Troll still does huge DPS, and Panther does still decent backline damage, being into the backline. But the weakness is if Troll dies, like, yeah, it's game over. And Troll and all the other Stronghold units are still squishy. Next up, Fury, third Charger DPS option. Let's see how that will pan out. These Stronghold units, I really prefer the Berserker here. If you play Cotus, and you should, because the units are squishy, so the all of these units around him are protected. So you can also add Panther here and play IP here. So the next thing you need is a tank, and a tank is a Paladin. So which buffs the, yeah, like this, put a kill lane, so to say, and Paladin buffs the Berserker and keeps it alive a bit more than any other tank. So this is definitely a possibility. There's also a possibility to play 4-4 split with the castle units, Shaman out, Panther here. The usual suspects here, and you have a fairly decent team. The Berserker is actually crucial here because he does a lot of damage. He's really squishy, but he does a lot of damage, a lot of tank damage. To bust that tank open, the first tank, kill it, so your behemoth does heal up from the dying units and stays a lot longer as well. So if you have the bot lane, kill lane versus kill lane, it's really crucial to get the first tank kill in. So yeah, it's a pretty decent team. So we're still in the same tier, and yes, it's Castle as a main faction. It has grown, so to say. It still lacks damage. It needs Falconer, which hopefully will come out soon enough, maybe. And yeah, it still has really strong supporting cast, lots of healing immunities. Sister still can tank the I'd say rather weak charger meta that we are having, like the chargers that can go into the backline and deal a lot of damage are a bit outdated. So, but still, she does well, and yeah, needs more damage. Castle can be played with 5 units. All are really good units. The 4 supporting units and the single damage dealing unit. As for the supporting cast, Kotas, yeah, no surprise. If you want to stall and tank out and try to defend in your arena, and sure, add Priest there as well. Another option, Dark Elemental, Ice Demon here. Not so many other good, great options. The usual tanks which you have, like Devil and maybe Emerald Dragon, yep, or DG with Banner, but it's not so good in Castle. So not much of a variation. The marksmen are super outdated. Doesn't almost no damage. So yeah, not much room to vary with. Finally, we are gone from C tier into B tier, and yes, it's Rampart. Has durable units now with the Mantis banner, and Dancer still does good damage when she goes into the backline. Nothing awesome, nothing crazy, but still good, and a better option if she is on tank. And Melody is still the first hero that came out, and yeah, she's not so good compared to the other heroes, and the bad faction mechanic still persists in the shields. So Mundo, next offensive third champion support, and maybe Kyrie is next up from the third generation heroes, as she was the first one to release in China. So let's see if we stick to the release order. So for the main faction units, you can set up a kill lane. It's a really nice kill lane. You can vary if you want to put Dancer in the stun immune spot, or the green dragon varies really against which faction you are playing, against which team, and how the formations are set up, split lanes, blind, and everything else. If you go heads up, the caster form is really strong with the lane AoEs to kill like dungeon chargers and everything. And if you go blind, have split lanes, then the ranged version is also really nice. So it depends really on the units, the formation you are facing, and so yeah, you can play the typical for castle support. If you're playing Dermot, and you can also run the Devil Tank and IP if you have the castle units elsewhere. So yeah, what other options are there? Kotas, maybe something like putting Kotas here, and then you can run Dark Elemental. So this is also a viable option for this team. So yeah, you can either go the castle route or something like this, and if you play it as a second team. So yeah, still a lot of options. Next up in the same tier as Rampart is Cov, because Rampart does better versus some other factions, like Tower, for example. And yeah, heads up is still equal. Sometimes the Cov has better odds to win versus Rampart, but still, we're still at the same point where, as you can see, there's still a lot of left for Cov. It's really still crowded in the backline. Seer Banner coming up, the third champion, as for everyone else. Yeah, it's dumb to talk about them. Dragon Turtle, it hasn't gotten its Star Awakening yet. Good tank damage, good bubble synergy, great lane damage. And yeah, you're probably wondering why there are 7 Cov units, but yeah, it's probably the best mono faction there is at the moment, and you can effectively play all of these 7 Cov units, and it's really, I'd say not cheap, but yeah, it's really easy to optimize if you play all of these units. You just need to put in 1 slot. Turtle, not a great tank at the moment, but still it's a decent option, and the Star Awakening is probably, hopefully near, as we won't get any more delays of Star Awakenings for the SSR units. Then Mermaid is, yeah, the 3rd best healer. Probably isn't enough, but to kill other 3rd teams, this is surely more than enough. And Seer doesn't have banner, but still, she's really necessary for the Cov team to not get poisoned, stunned, and everything else that she brings with her domain. But yeah, if you are playing as her as main, yeah, you really don't want those two. But yeah, still the old option, old theme is you can play DC here and add a better healer in Priest. Another option is to do something crazy and ditch the shark trainer and put Bone and Kotus as your tanks. Yeah, this is great as well. This is working. This is a working formation. So yeah, there's that too. Emerald Dragon as a tank, great as well. If you don't have a healer, yeah, we can use still the shark. If you don't have a healer, you can play the Dragon Watcher. So this is also a viable option to play all of the damage. It's a really nice team and can win sometimes weaker Alamars. So yeah. Next we jump here, and it's Tower. It is undisputed the 2nd best faction at the moment. It has high burst damage, deletes backlines, good tank damage, excellent in PvE content as well, and the ranged Naga tanks charger as well. Dungeon, it's really, dungeon is the only weakness for Tower. So let's see how the team's looking. So actually I started to put the 4 Tower units in, and I probably should have put the castle units as well, because like this is so straightforward and foolproof formation you can play. Just 4 castle, 4 tower, that's all you need. The most typical standard formation you see anywhere. There are some slight variables to consider if you haven't had this team, but basically if you have this and don't need the other units anywhere else to tweak and weaken the standard formation, yeah, you don't need them. But possibility if you're starting out, you don't have Naga or Angel, you can swap the Light Dragon, remove the Ranged, and put the Light Dragon here. Or if you don't have Angel, you can put the Naga there. So a lot of options. There are some crazy people who are playing the melee version, but it's really subpar to the ranged version. Some are also crazy enough to do something like this. It is an option, but overall, if the battle goes longer versus an Olimar, if you try to bust open a lane, get kills left and right, and yeah, the Olimar can out tank the initial burst, the few immunities. Nah, that's a no-go. But yeah, it can work if you are ahead and need Paladin elsewhere. So there are possibilities. And then we have the undisputed #1 in the PvP class. It does a lot of damage, a lot of crowd control poison, lots of defensive capabilities. It does not do so well in PvE modes though. The only damage dealer being Red Dragon. The chargers are really based on the Spellbreaker, and the PvE content does not do much spells recently. I don't know why they're programmed like that. And yeah, that's one weakness, and the other weakness is really a player with a bigger wallet. You can't win and optimize the meta dungeon unless you are ahead with another faction. Or, yeah, well, unless you play Olimar yourself and you have, again, better units and better stats. So there's that. And we still don't have the Evil Sorceress banner. And considering this point, and then there's only 3 banners left, so we will eventually get the banner within 3 months if nothing goes wrong. So Dungeon will definitely stay on top in the S tier alone in the foreseeable future, unless some crazy 3rd generation champions don't come out storming out of the gate and blow everyone away with their supportive abilities, which I really doubt that could happen. But yeah, everything's possible. A tweak here and there, some synergies that I haven't thought about yet. But yeah, Dungeon, best team, best faction currently in PvP. So the core units, yeah, you need to play, if you want to be good, you need to play the ranged Black Dragon and the offensive Red Dragon. Both are just better than the tank for BD and the tank, yeah, both the tank versions. So yeah, we don't have tanks. What do? We borrow them from a faction that has 2 awesome tank units, obviously with max banner and everything, but then the priest, mandatory, no, not Kotus, priest, yes. And there you have it. You can switch the tanks. If it's an arena team, you play tower, you can put Paladin here. This is really great. This is one of the top formations you can make. It's better than Venom Spawn, yes. Also, if you play Rampart and have Emerald Dragon, you can play this there or here, whatever, and still a viable option is Kotas as well as any of the tanks, say whatever, into Paladin. And you can play no tanks at all. Just go all on debuffs, buffs, and everything, and yeah, just destroy your opponents without playing any tanks. So yeah, lots of possibilities to play the 2 slots. You can play also without IP, play Kotus like here, run 3 chargers and run 2 Inferno tanks. And it still will wreck probably everything else you can encounter if you're on equal power. So there's that. So yeah, the tier list is finished, and I am really looking forward to when the Black Knight Star Awakening is coming out. It could probably just skip all of the C tiers and jump into B tier after that. Yeah, it really depends on how it will go. S tier will remain unchanged, I'm pretty sure, for the next 6 or even a year, 6 months, 12 months. Yeah, it's I'm pretty certain. Yeah, the third champions will definitely change things up. Next up, Inferno, and yeah, it might just jump into B tier, probably not into A tier, but yeah, let's see how that will pan out. Obviously, some unknown certainties are third generation Alliance heroes that will be coming out eventually this year. Yes, this year. And what will happen after the SSR Star Awakenings? Are we going to get Commander Awakening straight away? Will we have a pause? What will happen in that tech department? So yeah, remains to be seen. All right, thank you guys to staying with me together till the end, even if you switched, fast forward some bits. But thank you for being here with me and going through all these tier lists and I would say state of the game rather, yeah. But tier list probably sells better. So yeah, thank you a lot, guys, for listening and watching.